That's right. We're not stopping the music. And we're also not stopping T-Boz from doing his weekly segment, Words of Wisdom and Moments of Meditation. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Williams. I just have to sing that song again. Enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself. Boys and girls, come on in. I hope you guys are putting the radio on at 7 to listen to Darcy's show, all original music, and then the whole Jock Williams feel-good show. When was the last time you heard the J5? Enjoy yourself with me. Yes, I'm in a good mood because we are doing a student show today, Jock, and you look great in your orange and brown and all the colors that you're wearing for fall. And, boy, the classroom looks awesome. Look at all these pumpkins and corn stalks and mums. The mums are courtesy of Pickney Farms in Plainville, and all the pumpkins and corn stalks and the gourds. Looks beautiful in here. Courtesy of Moscarillos over there on East Main Street. So go get your fall stuff. You just may see some Christmas stuff out there, but that's okay. Come on in, everyone. Thank you, George. No pens and pencils today. No pens. It's the student show. Yes, I'm wearing a tuxedo because it's a happy show, a very great show. We have 19 contributors, so we're going to get rolling in about 1 second. Come on in. There is, along the back table, next to Stan's table, there's a printout of all the things that the students said. You could have it as a take-home when you guys leave. This is our Thanksgiving show. I will be here next week, but last week's show about community, this piggybacks so perfect as a complimentary piece. And so I said, you know what? It's my show. I'm going to move it up. And so here I am in full tuxedo. Yep. We got time. Hurry up. Full tuxedo to celebrate this. What an awesome job you guys did. I thank you all for getting things in. Thank you for spending your Thursday morning with Jock and I here at Words of Wisdom, Moments of Meditation. Let's quickly, there are no shout-outs and no format today. There was something I wanted to say about what I did in the town of Torrington, but we'll save that for next week. But let's get over to Stan. Stan, say it with me. The coffee man. And what do you got today, Stan? Autumn nutmeg brew. I could smell it coming up the stairs from downstairs. It's awesome. And November is National Diabetes Month. I hope you guys listened to Darcy's show earlier. Get your blood sugar checked. Watch what you eat and drink. But everything on the dessert table today, the refreshments, is all sugar-free, and it's going to be for the rest of the month. Right, Stan? Oh, and what's this? Sliced apples with peanut butter. Oh, so good. So help yourself. Thank you, Stan, for volunteering every week getting the call. What time? You get here at 8 o'clock to get this all ready. Wow. And the refreshment table is sponsored by none other than Bad Dog Brewery over there on Water Street, up the street from the classroom and the studios of WAPJ. Get your butts over there, guys. There's a fire engine in what was the old firehouse and a bunch of other great artifacts and brewed beer and music, and there's so much going on there. There's not enough time in a day to say. So thank you for sponsoring the refreshment table. Thank you, Stan, for putting everything out. Oh, and those cupcakes with the orange frosting. Perfect. So this show is called Making a Difference. What is your 11:15? Those of you who are regular listeners to the show, remember a couple of shows ago, Jock said to me, Boz, we'll make a difference at 11:15. And we built the show when we were talking about aging off of that and kind of like a legacy. So then I said to the classmates last week, what's your 11:15? What do you feel you're doing to make a difference? And we got a great response. And so we are going to get started sooner than later, and we're getting started now. Let's start with our scripture quote. There's only one. Well, we might have another one. We'll see what happens. It's Matthew 5:16, and it says, let your light shine before others. Not let your light shine on you, but let your light, so God is already saying you have a light within you, shine it before others. Then there's an anonymous quote, and it says, to make a difference, you've got to be the difference. And that is so key. If we're going to encourage people and motivate people and help people make the right decisions for their lives, or volunteer for things, or donate money, whatever we're going to do to make a difference in the community, make a difference in people's lives, we have to be the difference. We have to have the personality. We have to have the character that people say, you know what? Boz gave me advice, Jock gave me advice, Jim gave me advice, whoever it is, Fred gave me advice. But, man, they have the fruit on the tree, you know. And so if you want to make a difference, you have to be a difference. So let's start with first student, Lucille, who says, the way I make a difference is I like to volunteer because it helps the community. And so sometimes a lot of you struggled with this assignment because you thought you had to put a wing on a hospital. All right. That wasn't what it was about. Okay. Every small act of kindness goes a long way. So what Lucille did, she volunteered at the senior center. She volunteered at our church, Our Lady of Mercy. So, you know, maybe some people can't go out and write a book to change the world, but all her efforts and volunteering is a great way. It's just as impactful. There is no right answer. There is no better way. Volunteering is a fabulous way. What did they say last week? Volunteers are priceless. So Lucille has done a lot of volunteer work. We applaud her for that. And then you get to pick the different types of things you want to volunteer at to help the community. We look at Brother Boz, Stephen, and his wife, Lynn. He struggled with the assignment. He said, I don't know if Lynn and I have really helped an individual or did something major. But his company, Twin Home Services, donates for years. They've been donating for years down in Bridgeport, Swim Across the Sound, which is money that goes to cancer research. That's making an impact. Maybe he's not actually seeing the person who gets the benefit of the research or the money. But let me tell you something, folks. Organizations need two things, money and you. And there's a lot of you who give yourselves a lot to all the different organizations you belong to. But his company has donated to Swim Across the Sound for years, maybe over 20 years. So that is a way of making a difference in someone's life. It always doesn't have to be fostering a child or putting a wing on a hospital, like I say. So great effort there. And Brother Boz, keep that up because we know there's a lot of people who need that. Now, Christy Todd Whitman, she was the 50th governor, Republican governor of the Garden State of New Jersey. I'm from Jersey. You remember Saturday Night Live did all of that. We have another Jersey person. And I'm going to use her right after Brother Boz because he didn't think he did something impactful. But listen to her saying, anyone who thinks they are too small to make a difference never tried to fall asleep with a mosquito in the bedroom. Boom. Right? So think about that, right? You're trying to lay, but that little thing is bugging. It's annoying, but it makes that little mosquito has those of us 125, 150 pounds, like witching and switching in the bed, right? So Brother Boz thought he didn't do something impactful, but listen to what Christy Todd Whitman said, all right? You're not too small. There's no right answer or wrong answer to this today. Everybody makes a difference. Everyone is the difference. Everyone makes a contribution to society. My Bible classmate Jeannie says, I feel I made a difference in the love that I showed my family and friends. Boom. Love. And I'm sure there were times in Jeannie's life that maybe the family and friends were not on the same track that she would have liked them to be. But she loved them anyway, and that showed those people commitment. And it made a difference that though maybe they weren't doing life the right way or maybe making right decisions, they knew that Jeannie loved them, just like God loves us either way, right? And so like a bamboo, it comes back. So her love for her family and friends, whether good times or bad, they knew they can count on Jeannie. That's how you make a difference. Charity and making a difference starts at home. If you want to make a difference, you got to be the difference. My buddy Keith from many years ago, he was the head of the fundraising department, if you want to call it that, when we were all members of the Connecticut affiliate for retinitis pigmentosa. That's the eye disease we all have. Keith, my brother, myself, my friend Catherine, and fighting blindness. And he worked tirelessly as a fundraiser, raising money. Again, like Brother Boz, he may not have seen exactly where the dollars from the fundraisers we did went, but he knew that he was making an effort. He knew that he was making a difference because all of that research has brought new things, new medications, new therapies. There's gene therapy and all these other things because Keith put his time. And while he was doing fundraising, he had 2 kids that were playing Little League and soccer. He was working at Amphenol. He was painting his house and cutting his grass. So you want to make a difference, you got to be the difference. A lot of people say, well, it's different today. It's not different today. It wasn't easy for Keith to make a difference, but he did. Another thing he did that he said was very impactful in people's lives, giving blood. Fabulous. Someone's in a hospital somewhere getting a transfusion. The surgery is a success. Why? Because someone like Keith took the time, right, had to maybe wedge some things in, maybe get to the ball game, then get to the blood drive, but he did it, right? You want to make a difference, you got to be the difference. Chris from WAPJ Radio, he does 2 shows. He does No Commercial Potential on Wednesdays at 5 o'clock. It is the coolest show you ever want to listen to. It's just all these great songs, things you don't hear on the radio. And he always says, if you don't like something, fine, but he'll send you home with a new outlook. He also does a country show on Saturdays at 9 a.m. If you want to hear real country music, check him out. He says, I taught science in the public school for over 30 years. And he was showing students what's cool about the natural world while seizing upon every opportunity to show them what they are capable of. So he was touching lives. Actually, there's another DJ, right, Jock, at the station. His name is James. He was a student of Chris's back in the day, and now Chris brought him into the radio station, and he does a very cool show called Psych and Soul today at 4 o'clock. So he's not only impacted his students in the terms of science and the natural world, but he saw a talent in James with music. He brought him in as a DJ to WAPJ. Chris also co-raised 3 children, and now they're young adults. And he says each of them, in their own way, is bright, they're kind, and they have a wonderful, great sense of humor, just like Chris. If you'd met Chris, he had a wonderful sense of humor. So being a teacher is a way. He saw what they were capable of, and I love his word, seizing every opportunity. What does that mean? He had the smell of smoke on him when he was in the classroom. He wasn't just sitting there teaching. He could see a young person really getting into science. And so he seized that opportunity to make that experience more for that child. Who knows where those kids have gone today and where they will go. But I'm sure having a teacher like Chris, they have a bright future. So we move over to my friend Jim, good old Jim, rock solid Jim. He says, Boz, my 1115 is as a member of the Holy Name Society over here at St. John Paul the Great. He says we do a lot of fundraising, and we donate the profits to many different nonprofit organizations. And so there again, like Lucille, Jim's a busy guy running a business, right? Newly married, loves his yard, has a lot of nieces and nephews. But being part of the Holy Name, so being part of a group, not isolating yourself, being part of something bigger than yourself is a way of donating money, of donating your time to change the world. So great stuff there, Jim. Fantastic. We look at my friend Mary, who is my Bible instructor, okay? And Mary, before the internet, there was Mary, all right? And she was a member of a group called Birthright, all right? And she was a counselor for Birthright. They were a pro-life group, but they were non-political. And what they did is they helped women who were having rough pregnancies. They had some medical problems. They would counsel them, walk through them with that. And there was one woman in particular who was well into her 40s, close to 45, maybe older, Mary said. And she was pregnant. And a lot of her friends would say, oh, you're too old. The baby's going to have Down syndrome. The baby's going to be sick. You're going to die, on and on and on. And the woman was perplexed. She had 3 other children, right? She was perplexed. What should I do? So she went to Mary. Mary didn't tell her what to do, but she counseled her. She shared her heart, her faith, the things that she knew about. And so the woman decided to have the baby. The baby was healthy. The woman is healthy. 30 years later, this woman is still telling Mary, best decision I ever made. So there, Mary made a difference in someone's life by listening to her, guiding the person, not just jumping all over her and being judgmental. And Birthright, they're no longer around, was a way for people to get another opinion. all right? And Mary herself, while she was doing this, has 4 children of her own. She was a lector at that time, St. Francis Church. So she was busy too, but she found time to make a difference. What does it say in Corinthians? We are God's building. What is a building? Could be a hospital, could be an office, could be a home. What happens in a building? Things happen. People are healed, families love, right? So we are God's building. And all of you so far have built houses, theoretically or metaphorically speaking, where people were able to come in and feel that you cared about them and made a difference in their life. Jock, why don't we hit those wonderful sponsors that keep the oil in the tank, and we'll keep rolling along.
Thank you so much, T-Boz, and we want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in to your local community radio station, WAPJ, and to our weekly segment, Words of Wisdom and Moments of Meditation with T-Boz. We'd like to thank our sponsors for allowing us to bring you the quality community radio programming that we're able to do at this time. And with that being said, we'll turn the show back over to T-Boz for more Words of Wisdom and Moments of Meditation.
Thank you, Jock. Susan, the other girl from Jersey, and some of you in the class know Susan. Yep. And she is a teacher. She says, I'm a teacher. You know, I was born to be a teacher. And she says when she was teaching, still teaches today, but adults, it's a little bit different, but all children are uniquely gifted. I love that, unique. She sees each person as an individual. You know, when St. Mother Teresa was working, she was alive and helping the pygmies, and there were thousands and thousands of kids coming to her. She said that I would just look at the child in front of me, and I would take care of that child and then the next child. So Susan is kind of echoing that a little bit because she's saying that she saw each child as uniquely gifted. She saw them as they were. What do we say in the show? Be yourself, everyone else is taken. And she said that they were talented, and she was always gave all of her time to help them, like Chris said, to realize their full potential, not what they kind of might do. And sometimes, you know, when you want someone to reach their full potential, you got to reach out, you got to push a little bit. You know, you want something to happen in this world, you got to stand up and shout out a little bit, right? And so Susan says that she was able to help kids realize their full potential. And then the other thing she said is what she liked is that she wanted her students to become enthusiastic, lifelong learners. She wants them to be turned on to learning. Isn't that true? Thomas Jefferson, the 3rd president of the United States, says you never stop learning. Okay? And so Susan lit a fire in some of these kids that hopefully today, I'm sure they're still learning. They're still saying, gee, Mrs. O'Connor taught me this, and I'm going to keep going, right? And so I'm sure everyone in the classroom has a teacher. My teacher that stayed with me was Brother Finian, and my brother's nodding his head. But those of you in the classroom have a teacher like Chris, like Susan, who said something, saw something in you, motivated you. Maybe that's the career you picked today. Maybe it's the life you live. But teachers are a great way to make a difference, and she really put her heart and soul in that. Fred, my buddy Fred, good old Fred. Can't wait to get back to the cottage. We've got a few months for that to go, but he says he makes a difference in people's lives by being a good listener. And when he sent me that text, listener was capitalized. Why? Because a lot of us hear, but we don't listen. And being a good listener is a great way to make a difference in someone's life. When I went on the couples retreat, Veronica and I, Sister Marianne, I told the story, I'm going to tell it again. That she was working with inmates, and they brought these inmates, honest to God, in like bird cages. They were only as wide as the men were, and they were shackled in these bird cages. And Sister Marianne and her staff went there to do a mass for them. And then at the end, they went to give them Holy Communion, and they had a little slide door with only their hands that were also shackled, because these are dangerous people, unfortunately, came out so they can receive communion. And Sister Marianne said to one of the inmates, how did this happen? And he said to her, you're the first person in my life that ever listened to me. Bing, bang, boom. Listen to me. So what Fred says here is a wonderful way to impact people's lives. He goes on to say, being a good listener, because You can get to understand, we talk about that on the show a lot, and learn from people. It's not always our way, that's the right way. We can learn from people that are different from us, learn, and then discuss, not scream, discuss an issue, an event with someone. Okay, so Fred's right. The way to make a difference, and he's listened to me for hours. And he is a good listener, because what's great about Fred is when you talk to him, he's able to reiterate back to you everything you said. Too many of us, myself included sometimes, someone's talking and you can't wait to get your 2 cents in there. Right? Your wheels are turning. Stop turning the wheels. Another way to make a difference in someone's life, say thank you. How many of us today, we pick up the phone with appointment setters or service people and they're on the phone and they don't speak like we do. They have an accent and we get very irritable with them, don't we? All right. But why don't we try saying to the people, thank you. I'm having a little difficulty understanding what you're saying. Ma'am, I know you're trying your best. Is there someone else in the office that can work with me? Because it must be me. Isn't that that person's going to get off the phone and feel great. Or if an appointment setter for a doctor's appointment or a service call sets up a thing for you and it runs smooth, why don't we all try calling that person back and saying, hey, thank you so much for helping me. Because these people, you know what they hear? But what makes a difference in their lives is someone calls back and say, hey, Betty, that really worked out great with the fireplace guy. He came at the right time. I really appreciate you helping me get that appointment together. Wouldn't that woman would go home on a cloud and tell her husband, I'm going to have a cortisone. I can't believe someone actually called back and thanked me for my efforts. Someone else say, someone had patience with me because I'm from a foreign country. I don't speak English well. Guess what? My grandmother didn't speak English well. All she could say is hi and bye in English. Everything else, she spoke in Italian. So patience with people and thanking people is a way to make a difference. This person wanted to stay anonymous, and he came at a different, this person came from a different angle. And what he says is he survived the childhood plague, and it did not prevent him from the ability of walking. He was stranded in the middle of a ski slope, and he got out just before dark. He survived a life-threatening car crash. One person died. He said it wasn't him. And he lived to joke about my brain bleed. He said there was nothing up there anyway. And his children are all doing well. They're healthy, and no one is destitute. This person, though he did more of a Thanksgiving type of thing, which is fine, but I'm going to turn it around. The people who know him, like me and some other people in the classroom, they are inspired by his ability to overcome that childhood plague. So he has made a difference, though he didn't say it to the person. He didn't pick someone up and take them to school, but he made a difference. There's another person who knows this person, and he says you could still see him back in the 50s running up Funston Avenue because he wanted to be with the other kids. He wasn't a quitter. And so his life makes a difference to others because he is the difference. If you want to make a difference, you have to be the difference. So great work there. Corinne, my pilot, my driver to Square Dance on Monday nights, and great news for her. She says, I find it hard to say how I affected others. I know I have, but what I choose to do is think about how all of these friends, students, colleagues, and even strangers have made me feel when I can do something for them. Boom. It is my fuel. It keeps me going. As simple as it may sound, giving someone a compliment, she says, makes my heart grow. Right? We all feel that we can love and we have compassion. I love what Corinne says, makes my heart grow. Even strangers. So she's saying she doesn't know if she really impacted someone's life, but the way she feels when people feel that she helped her is her fuel. And if you guys know this woman, some of you are nodding, she's got jet rocket fuel because she is one spark plug of a person, and she's been an awesome help to me getting the Square Dance. But I love what she says there. I choose to think about how much all of the friends and students and colleagues and even strangers make me feel when I think that I've made a difference in their life. Great, great work there. Charlie, thankful Charlie, we're going to call him. He's always thankful. Charlie says he volunteers as a greeter at his Baptist church where he's a member, saying hi to parishioners and new people and guests. And, what a great thing there, because Charlie doesn't know who might have come to that service. Could be a Jewish person, a Catholic person, a Luke, doesn't matter. Maybe they didn't come back to the Baptist church, but because of his warm style, his great smile, his sense of humor, maybe someone said, I think I'm going to start going back to my church. Or maybe they'll become a member of his church. So there, like St. Mother Teresa said, I can't change the world, but I can throw a stone and make a ripple. Charlie is making a ripple by doing what? Greeting people. That's what we lack in this world today, greeting people, saying hi. He also says he has a lot of friends that are in the music business, some national, some local. He does whatever he can on Facebook, social media, to promote their gigs, go out and support them. What does it mean to these guys to be up there playing an instrument at gals and see Charlie there after a long day, supporting their efforts? That's making a difference. Why? Because they know the thankful Charlie airs. Bing, bang, boom. Lady Boz, beautiful Lady Boz. And so she's the only Brit on the show, which we have to have that. She said, I feel I made a difference when I began to bring communion, Holy Communion, to the homebound. This was way before they had live streaming of masses. So it was so very important to these people. This was their only connection to the parish. Many of these people were really isolated, and they were so happy to see someone come, spend some time with them, and listen to them, just like what Fred said, going right back over to our opening scripture verse, let the light shine before you, right? And so she wasn't only giving the communion, but she was spending time with these people who were so isolated. We talked about that on the show. And being able to talk to them, and they were able to talk to someone that showed an interest in them. Boom. Some of the people we have today that have severe problems feel that no one has an interest in them, just like the inmate said. Bill, down in Jacksonville, Florida, what a great story. And I'm going to have to go through this one quickly. 30 years ago, a priest said to him, Bill, why don't you become a foster father? Bill already has 3 children, 2 daughters and a son. So he fosters a young boy named David, who's 13 years old, whose parents were both deceased. And so Bill mentors him, he fosters him. The kid graduates high school, he goes into the Navy, he graduates the University of Massachusetts. He goes on to get a master's degree in hospitals, computer systems, the way Bill described it to me. He goes on and gets married, and then he even asked Bill, could you be the godfather of my daughter? Isn't that amazing? Then David goes on to even greater things. He goes down to Washington, D.C., where he becomes the head of a hospital system management down in Washington, D.C. Still keeps in touch with Bill today, and he always says to Bill, you bought me my first baseball glove and my first bike. There's another story about the bike. We don't have time today, but in another show I'll incorporate that. But Bill was also a great, great mentor to me when I lost my wife. Came up with a cup of coffee. You all heard this story. And he said to me, you look miserable. Get in the car. We're going for a cup of coffee. And that started a friendship. Actually, I call him my older brother. But here he had the ability. Now, here he was working. He had 2 daughters. He had a son, right? He was busy. And he took David on, and what did he change the course of David's life? He didn't lecture to David. He didn't hit him over the head. But by showing that love, that compassion, he was able to take a kid who had no parents and really become something. It could be your reason or your excuse. So great work there, Bill. Alicia, she heads up the Saturday morning show, Alternative Anthems. If you graduated in 1983, you need to listen to this show. Comes on at 6 o'clock till 9. And even myself, I got married in 84. She plays a lot of great songs from the 80s. She says that she is not rich. She doesn't have riches. But what she does have is she's very generous with her time. That's so important, Alicia. Time is more important than money. She says, I'm very generous with my time. I continue to offer my children my love and even George's family, her love and support. Now, George over there by the door. Yeah, buddy, don't be winking at her. See that big guy by the door? That's her boyfriend. Okay, I know, but what can I say? So, but anyway, George by the door. So George and her are a new couple like Veronica and I, and they both come into the relationship with families, but she loves George's family as much as her own. That has to speak volumes to George's kids. It's one thing to love your own, but for them to feel that love from Alicia says, man, my dad's with the right gal, and she cares about us. And so she continually offers her support and all of that to them. She says that she was a constant, she also volunteers at the radio station, and she also has done religious ed. She supported school parent-teacher nights, a religious ed instructor, other organizations, and she even volunteers for helping clean up at all the veterans' homes. So here's a woman with kids of her own, a job. She's a businesswoman. She offers her time at WAPJ. She says she doesn't have the riches. Guess what? She's wealthy. What does it say in Scripture? The Pharisees say the people are throwing money in the can, and the Pharisees say, who gave the most money? Because there was a woman who just threw in a little coin, and Jesus says, her. And they say, why? She only threw in one coin. Because she gave of her want. Alicia is giving of her want. The money is irrelevant. She's giving more money than money. Catherine, and she's made an impact on this show and on me. Catherine says she loves helping others to feel worthy by supporting their efforts for success and also helping people feel worthy of success. There are people today who are successful who don't feel worthy of it. That creates another problem. Catherine also says she's very proud of the fact that she, too, gives blood. She's been giving blood since 1968. She was only 3 then. Anyway, but 1968. And she is proudly closing in on 150 pints of blood. Isn't that amazing? All right. So she says that I feel this is the way that I can touch other people's lives. It is, just like with Keith. I mean, giving blood, some of you, again, struggle with this assignment. Giving blood is a way to make a difference in someone's life. That's what we need. The blood, not only the blood of from our souls, but the blood of our bodies can help other people. So that's a wonderful, wonderful effort there, Catherine. Great contribution. And Catherine, if you're listening down in Florida, thank you for the impact you made on me and all the help you give for this show. Darcy from WAPJ, she does 2 shows, 6 hours a week she puts into this radio station. She has a son, and she's a real estate agent in a hot real estate market, so she's busy. She does the hot spot on Mondays from 4 to 7, and then before Jock on Thursdays, she does the Miscellaneous Morning Show. She volunteers. She plays all original music because she says artists are struggling. They want to get that. They need that airtime, to have people hear them. So she donates 6 hours a week of playing all original artists. It's a wonderful show. I'm a big fan of it. You really hear that energy. She says she's also volunteers and helping souls. She took care of a lot of people when they come to the end of life. Okay, and it's not a pretty thing to want to be involved in. But if you met Darcy, she just glows, right? And so she says there's a lot of people when they get to the end of life, they have to have that dignity. You want to have a dignified passing. So over the years, she has volunteered, giving her time away from family and making an impact. So when someone looks over, they say, and this is not my daughter-in-law or my daughter, this is a stranger, like Corinne said, but taking the time to hold my hand, to talk to me, to pray with me, so that as I go to my eternal home, I have dignity. She even had one woman in Colebrook. She was 92 when she met her. The woman died at 99, and she had her whole funeral planned. She said to Darcy, planning a funeral is like planning a wedding. And so she had everything right down to the dress and the pine box, all detailed. And Darcy says she hasn't looked at a wedding or a funeral the same way. She says our seniors are so valuable. They have wisdom. They have knowledge. They tell great stories. We need to spend time. You want to make a difference in a life? Go sit with your grandmother. Go sit with your mother. Ask them what it was like when Glenn Miller was playing. Ask them what it was like when the Beatles came over in 1964. Ask them. You'd be surprised. I talked to my friend Mary. I wish her kids knew what her life was like in the 50s. She was a fun girl. I would have dated her. But Darcy is saying we need to talk to our seniors. We need to get to know them, see the world through their eyes, because when they're gone, they're gone. Veronica tells me all the time, Veronica was only 35 when her mother passed away. Her mother was 57. She says she never really got the time to find out what life was like in England when her mother was a kid, what her grandmother, great-grandmother was like. She can't ask her now. She's gone. So those of you out there who have mothers or aunts or uncles or someone, a neighbor that is elderly or old, do what Darcy did. Get off your butt and go spend some time. If you want to make a difference, you've got to be the difference. Let your light shine to the world. Hebrews tells us in chapter 13, verse 16, and don't forget to do good work and to share with those in need. Need doesn't only mean poor. Need means people who are alone. Need is people who need a ride, like me, okay? There's a lot of people in need. They're not in a wheelchair with walkers, but they have a need. They want someone to talk to them. Like Fred said, listen. You can make a difference in this world by opening your heart, opening your mind, opening your wallet, opening your door, and reaching out, as they say today. We have my little big sister, Barbara. She, too, was a teacher, a real estate agent, and she said, I hope I made a difference with all of my students in all of my years of teaching so that they may have found what they wanted to do in life. Very much what Chris said and what Susan said. And I'm going to piggyback on that, and I've said this story before, and it's appropriate. She didn't include it, but it's my show. I'm going to include it. But when we were all in the bereavement group, my good friend Jim that I talk about, Barbara was key because in between the bereavement classes, there was a break of about 2 months. Barbara kept us together. She had us keep meeting at Big Y or McDonald's. She pulled us together, brought little treats so that we would all stay together. If it wasn't like her, it says in Scripture, like sheep, they'd all go their own way. This friend Jim that I talk about, there would be no Jim if it wasn't for Barbara. Barbara made a difference in my life because I was the best man at this guy's wedding because he's one of my best friends. But if she didn't take the time and the interest to make a difference in our lives, Jim and I wouldn't be friends. What did Mother Teresa say? Say, Mother Teresa, I can't change the world, but I can cast a stone. Barbara's stone, that ripple that is still in effect today, was, guys, let's get together Tuesday night, even though the class ended. Let's get together. Let's stay together as a group. Where two or more are gathered, right? I am present. What does it say in Mark 16:15? It says, Jesus said, go and spread the good news to the whole world, to all of creation, to all the ends of the earth. He didn't say just go and spread the good news to the Jews or over here in Syria. All the world, all the ends of the world. Spread the good news. All of you today have spread the good news all over the world because even though you all have specific stories, these stories have stories, have stories, have stories, have stories. So your stories are all over the world, even if they're not on the internet. So someone might be talking about you. Someone might be saying how this woman sat with my mother when she died. This man fostered my grandfather. This person donated money to a cause. This person volunteered at the church. This person taught me science or English. This person gave of their time at the veterans home. This person said hello to me when I went to church. This person listened to me. This person loved me even though I wasn't perfect. This person helped me keep my baby. This person gave blood. This person volunteered the Holy Name Society. That's what you're doing. You're all unique and special. We have a statement before the takeaway. The statement says, what you do makes a difference. You have to decide what difference you want to make. Bing, bang, say it with me. Boom. One more time. Bing, bang, boom. You have to decide. And each and every one of you in this class today, and those listening via Zoom and on the radio, each and every one of you have made a decision. And each and every one of you were busy raising families, jobs, careers, businesses. Yet you made a decision that your life was going to mean more than just about you. Your life was going to have the ripple effect that St. Mother Teresa says, and going to go out, like it says in Mark, and spread the good news to the whole world. And right back to our original quote, let your light shine before others. When Catherine says the blood that she gave helps others, right back to our scripture. Here's our takeaway, and I stole it from last week's show because I couldn't find anything that was better than this, boys and girls, okay? And so this is the takeaway, all right? And it says, you don't have to be a star to light up the sky. The sky in Torrington is brilliant today. Sky is bright because of all of you that have taken time in your lives, and you'll probably do more because you're all still alive. So it ain't over yet, right? What did Yogi say? It ain't over. It's over. And you continually spread that light. You don't have to be a star to light up the sky. The sky is bright because of what? You. Pat yourselves on the back, boys and girls. When you lay your head on the pillow tonight, Og Mandino says, I lay my head to rest because I know I've done my best. Each and every one of you, when you go to bed tonight, have a smile and say, you know what? Thank God I made a difference somewhere. Jock, you want to tie a quick bow because we got to get to that song because it's Friday Eve.
Yeah, unfortunately, we won't have time to do that so we can get to the song, and we got to introduce the next show coming up. But as always, T-Boz, I'm sure that our listeners got a world full of knowledge through your presentation this morning, and hopefully that'll be something that they can apply to their everyday lives and as you said, make a difference. So thank you once again.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And have a great weekend. Jock, play as much of the song as you can. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.